Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the absolute roller coaster that is the short horror film Trick or Treat by Jia Kapoor Films. We're going to act as cinematic detectives here, because in just a handful of minutes, this story yanks us from everyday annoyance straight into outright supernatural dread. Honestly, if you've ever ignored a knock on your front door on October 31st, this breakdown is definitely going to make you think twice. Let's map out exactly how this film builds its tension, relying entirely on the wild power dynamics playing out on screen. All right, let's just jump right into it. We've got to start with those incredibly upbeat pop lyrics that open the film. You hear this cheerful tune playing, singing, "Oh baby, when you're feeling down, just get on up, it's all in the love." It's toe-tapping, it's light, and it creates this massive, jarring contrast with the grim horror story we're actually about to watch. As viewers of a horror short, we come in expecting deep shadows and spooky, creeping sound effects. But instead, we get greeted with this bouncy, feel-good anthem. It's a total classic disarming technique. It lowers our defenses and grounds the whole scene in a super realistic everyday setting before things go horribly, horribly wrong. So that cheerful music, it sets up this totally mundane, super relaxed mood for our homeowner. You get the picture, right? Just someone chilling in their sanctuary, completely unbothered by the holiday happening right outside their walls. This isn't your typical dark, stormy night in a haunted mansion. It's literally just a regular Tuesday evening for them. The music isolates the protagonist from the Halloween festivities. They are entirely in their own little world, just vibing to their own soundtrack, right up until that fateful knock on the door completely shatters their peaceful bubble. The setting tells us everything we need to know about this character's attitude toward Halloween. They're actively opting out.
And this brilliantly sets up the immediate conflict the second that front door swings open. On one hand, you have the homeowner laying down this loud, explicit boundary. They aggressively ask, "Who are you supposed to be?" and then immediately follow it up with, "Didn't you read the sign? No candies, go away." It is abrasive, it is direct, but then look at the stark contrast. The trick-or-treater's reaction is just absolute, silent, stubborn persistence. They don't budge, they don't complain, they literally just stand there. And in horror, silence is usually way more intimidating than dialogue. The homeowner's trying to use normal social rules to control the situation, but that visitor's silence, it proves they are operating on a completely different set of rules.
Well, from there, the pacing just shifts entirely. The homeowner realizes that simply telling this kid to take a hike isn't working at all. But instead of just shutting the door and walking away, the homeowner's mild annoyance escalates into active, mean-spirited cruelty. They decide to toy with this silent figure standing on their porch. And this is a really absolutely crucial turning point in the narrative. The homeowner goes from being, just a slightly grumpy person who wants to be left alone to becoming an active participant in an unprovoked conflict. They basically invite the negative energy in by choosing to play a totally malicious game. Let's actually break down this cruel little fake-out step by step, because it firmly establishes the homeowner as a highly unsympathetic protagonist. Step 1, they feign generosity. They say, "Let me get a candy for you." Step 2, the rug pull. They pull the candy back, claim it's the very last one, and declare, "I really, really, really want to eat this," before scarfing it down right in front of the trick-or-treater. And finally, step 3, the totally flippant dismissal. I'm out of candies now. Okay, bye-bye. By mapping it out like this, you can really see the deliberate, calculated nature of the taunt. As viewers, this completely severs any empathy we might have had for the homeowner. We are now subconsciously just waiting for them to get their comeuppance. But here's the thing. Despite that incredibly mean prank, and despite the door being slammed shut, the kid just stays there. So the homeowner opens the door again and spits out this exasperated phrase, "You won't give up, huh?" This line is so important. It highlights the trick-or-treater's relentless nature, transforming them from a mere annoyance into this building source of deep, deep dread. It's that classic horror trope of the slow, unstoppable force. You can insult it, you can shut the door on it, you can mock it all you want, but it simply will not leave. The homeowner is finally starting to realize that their normal methods of dealing with people are completely useless here. Right in the middle of this super tense standoff, we really have to ask ourselves what actually makes the homeowner crack. I mean, they've been abrasive, they've been cruel, and they've been totally dismissive. Yet, out of nowhere, they pivot and offer an apology. Is it a sudden pang of guilt? Is it just the sheer unnerving exhaustion of dealing with this unmoving entity on their porch? Or is it a totally calculated move just to finally get this weird kid off their property so they can go back to their upbeat music? The film leaves this wonderfully ambiguous, which makes the psychological chess match between these two characters so incredibly engaging to watch. And that brings us to a massive turning point in the story. The narrative takes a sharp left turn as the homeowner seemingly relents, which introduces a whole new power dynamic to the encounter.
The homeowner decides to give in and offer a real treat. Now, on the surface, sure, it looks like a peace offering, a return to the normal social contract of Halloween. But because of everything we've just seen unfold, the atmosphere is incredibly tainted. We know for a fact the homeowner isn't acting out of kindness, and we know that trick-or-treater is definitely not just an innocent kid. The treat actually becomes the catalyst for the final terrifying act. So as this bizarre encounter drags on, the homeowner gives what technically looks like an apology, saying, "Okay, I'm sorry, and let me get a real candy for you." But let's be real. The delivery and the context, the attitude is still completely toxic. They hand it over saying, "It tastes really delicious, enjoy," and cap it all off with this heavily sarcastic, "Happy Halloween." The homeowner is absolutely still trying to maintain superiority and control here. They think they've won the game by finally paying the toll to make the kid leave. But that little inclusion of the phrase "real candy," it's a subtle, ominous hint that the rules of reality are about to shift dramatically.
And oh boy, do the rules shift. The whole facade of a normal, run-of-the-mill Halloween interaction just drops completely, pulling us directly into the film's terrifying supernatural reveal. The quiet, unnerving standoff is instantly shattered. The homeowner's smug superiority just vanishes into thin air, as the true nature of the trick-or-treater is finally unleashed. This is the exact moment the genre fully flips from a psychological thriller of manners straight into a full-blown monster horror story. And honestly, it is executed with brutal, shocking speed.
Now, the really crucial point here is hiding right inside the entity's final, absolutely chilling poem. Check out how these simple, almost childlike rhymes are masking some seriously deadly intentions. The innocent pairing of sad and glad, that reveals a supernatural joy tied specifically to this night. The rhyme of back and attack literally weaponizes a nursery rhythm to describe a gruesome fate. The entity isn't just speaking in verse for the fun of it. They are outlining exactly how the homeowner's refusal to play by the rules has transformed him from an annoyed host into a literal human snack. Then, the tension literally explodes. The threat goes from implied to unmistakably literal with this one horrifying line: "I wait to feast on a human snack." It completely flips the script on who is actually getting pranked here. See, the homeowner thought they were the predator, the one pulling these cruel tricks on a helpless kid. But the chilling reality is that the homeowner was the prey all along. The trick-or-treater was just standing there, waiting for the homeowner to cross a line, waiting for them to prove themselves worthy of being the human snack. It's dark, twisted karmic retribution at its finest. Because this poem, it explicitly lays out the horrific consequences of breaking the sacred rules of Halloween. The entity tells us they've been waiting for this quote-unquote special scary occasion. It's a massive warning that turning mundane fun and pranks into malicious cruelty is a surefire way to invite a supernatural siege. The poem concludes with this terrifying image of candy snacks when the zombies arrive. It elevates the stakes from just one creepy monster on a porch to an apocalyptic, overwhelming threat. The homeowner's lack of Halloween spirit didn't just earn them a little trick, it literally summoned a nightmare. So I want to leave you with this lingering, incredibly sarcastic quote: "Enjoy, loser." It's what the homeowners spat out earlier in the night. And I really want you to ponder for a second. Who actually won this trick-or-treat encounter? The homeowner threw out that insult thinking they completely had the upper hand, thinking they had successfully humiliated a child. But in the end, it's the homeowner who winds up being the ultimate loser of this deadly game. So the next time you hear a knock on your door on Halloween night and you're maybe tempted to keep your candy to yourself or play a cruel trick, ask yourself, are you absolutely sure you know who or what is waiting on the other side? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and seriously, stay safe out there.